Blessed be the holy and undivided Trinity, now and forevermore. Peace be with you, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 16 of Tenconi Talks, live and direct, as ever, from Tenconi Towers. As always, discussing what Christian nationalism means and what is our mission and how can you be a part of writing your name into the history books, supporting a party that was responsible for saving Britain. Not so honoured to be not with lead spokesperson Father Calvin Robinson this evening, but hopefully he'll be rejoining us next week. It is, after all, Ash Wednesday, so I'm sure he is very busy in Michigan. Tonight's main segment. If we can unite, then we can still save Britain. If we can unite, then we can still save Britain. Just drawn to the comment section there. Someone says they're from Hull. Next Saturday, the 28th, Hull, mustering from 12 p.m. Massive show of strength in Hull next Saturday as we demand mass deportations, continuing the UKIP mass deportations tour of the United Kingdom. First up, it's Ash Wednesday, so I just want to wish everyone a blessed, holy, and strong, for want of a better word, Lent. But I do want to use that word. We're going to need strength to get through this Lent. I just know it. For those of you, for a lot of people, this is your first Lent. The Great British Revival is obviously, as we know, happening. You can feel it. It's social media, for all the evil that sometimes it brings some good as well. You can feel it. You can see it. There's nothing you can't access now on social media. So people want to return to trad values. That means Christianity. So just want to say, I hope you guys all have an amazing Lent. And by amazing, I mean, like me, you do the best you can, whatever that looks and sounds like. And I'm sure people have got different rules depending on your church, denomination, etc. But for me, abstaining from meat on Wednesdays and Fridays and fasting 6 days a week, which means you get one meal. The church is quite clear that you're allowed a snack, a small snack, either side of that meal. But for me, I'm going for gold. Will I, if you do the 40 days and take out the Sundays, etc., 6 days a week, it's not possible with my work, and that'll be true for you guys and people who do shifts, especially if you've got manual labor job, etc. So that's why I say we could God grant us the strength to have a really successful, victorious Lent, which of course is to deny the self. It's to mortify the flesh and to deny the self. So for me, that's a strong focus on fasting, upping my own prayer game, and focusing even more so on almsgiving and where I can be more charitable. So we have entered the holiest seasons, recognized throughout the world, undisputed holiest season, Lent. Today is Ash Wednesday, my brothers and sisters. The year has flown past. Tomorrow is a gift. It's not, tomorrow's a mystery. It's a gift. It's not given. It's not guaranteed at all. Brings us to our first slide there. I was sent this, and bless the individual, bless them so much. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authoritative, against the powers of this dark world. There's many different, I've seen quite a few different versions of that, but it's chapter and verse. Ephesians 6:12. My eyesight serves me correctly. It's foretold, guys. The fatigue is so very real. The fatigue is the devil's plan. The devil's plan is to turn man against his brother, but no shots fired. It's not cinematic. It's just death by 1,000 cuts. So this is something that's so very special. That's useful when my screen freezes like that. Let me know in the comments section if you can still see me, which hopefully you can. So this is so very special, and that I love chapter and verse is great. Chapter and verse is great, guys. But this is it. You know, it's the armor of God, shield of faith territory. It really is. We fight against the powers of darkness. We really do. And I just want to bring this up now. And it's in light of what we're going to talk about with regards to unity. It's in light of what happened on Friday when a politician, an elected MP, Rupert Lowe, said he was launching a new party. Just thought I'd bring this up on the screen now. For all of you know now, I've extended the hand to Rupert, not this time last year, but I've extended it again, as you all know, yesterday when I got around to doing it. Of course, unity is our message. Of course it is. Unity is our message. Everyone back reform. Reform's falling apart. That's what reformers don't say. That reformers say we've got the networks, we've got the councillors, we've got the funding, we've got the mainstream media. Reformers don't say reform is falling apart, but then they love maybe their liberalism and their centrism. So they're going to say that. The right still remains unguarded. That's kind of the perspective. That's kind of the perspective. So just take a look at what I've got on the screen there. So this is what I see Twitter as. It's as soon as Elon made it the Wild West. There's a very specific moment where it was made the Wild West. And I just think it's very important to remind the patriots and to remind those Christians and Christian nationalists, those who are socially conservative, that our family, the battle that we're in, is against the powers of darkness. It really, truly is. And there's so much hatred and so much vitriol and spite and jealousy and anger that comes from a certain demographic on the right. They definitely would laud themselves as being on the right of politics. I'm not going to say where that this demographic sits because our message is unity, but it's for those of you who are involved, who have visibility over it. Not every platform is that's kind of what I want to talk to you about. Not every platform is bad, but X is especially poisonous. Okay. Now, a lot of these people that are so vitriolic and they are so hateful and so poisonous, these people have been radicalized. They've been radicalized to, again, an agenda, a game plan, an ideology. And we must pray for these people. We must. I'm being deliberately ambiguous with regards to specifics. But for those of you involved, you'll know because you can see it. You see it in the interviews, you see it on social media, stuff that goes viral, and you're scratching your head and you're thinking, wait, hang on a minute, what does that mean? And well, how does that work, etc. There's an anger and a hatred, a rage, a vitriol, which you can see because people know, they can smell it. It's the opposite of unity. It's why you know it. You know when you see unity, you know when you see love, light, when you trust something, and when it just repels. And we must pray for these people. That's why I've got that little image up there. The angry mob on Twitter who at street level would never confront you. At street level, they wouldn't say anything to your face. And when it comes to campaigning and leafleting and winning hearts and minds, they'd never, ever come to street level with their policies. Ever. They wouldn't do it. It's been tried and tested. They wouldn't do it. Or they are essentially removed, shall we say, from the community. They are asked to leave politely. So I just want to say, guys, keep the faith. Start holiest of seasons, start of Lent. Let's focus on what's important, which is we're taking our country back, but without God's grace, we will not be successful. Ergo, it is Christian nationalism that saves Britain. That is our forecast. We are not wrong. I 100% stand with the Patriots. I work for the Patriots. My work is done. I have offered the hand once again to Rupert. And we're rejecting the hysteria, guys. We're rejecting the hysteria and the madness. Do you remember last Friday? Soon as possible, everyone within the political party of Advance, the Advance camp, all of them, mergers. Do you remember the tagline? Do you remember the interviews? Do you remember the face to cameras? Merger, merger, merger. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense, guys. It's hysteria. It's just, it's your soap opera drama. It's people rushing for, I don't know, it's a hit of endorphins, drama. It's a disordered mindset and a disordered life that fosters this. I don't know whether it's endorphins related or not, but It's just noise. It's just noise, guys. We live in a first past the post system. I call for unity, and unity we shall have, but I can't force people. I can't force people to work together. For those of you who have seen my interview with Dan Wootton this afternoon, Rupert was on before me. Rupert acknowledges me. He knows who I am. His team knows who I am. Of course they do. There is a lot of allegation that it's Rupert's way or the highway. Again, it doesn't matter. We must rise above the noise. We must unite. That's the theme of tonight. We can still save Britain if we unite. Because here's the deal, guys. If you've got 3 or 4 parties and they're identical and they're all competing for the same space in our system, you've then got a real problem. As we approach the general election, not going to make this long-winded, we've got a serious problem. Mark my words. And they know that. The other players know that. So my hand remains extended. So the Patriots know where they're at. I work for you. My hand remains extended. We're going to do everything we can to work with these people in a first past the post system where every party, all they want is members and candidates. That's all they want, right? Well, then all these members and candidates are putting all this work in for you, the leader, and for the party. So no leader is going to disappoint his people. So in a first past the post system, what exactly is this unity that people speak of? What they mean is they want everything that's not theirs. They want you to fold that, close the bank accounts, disappoint everyone, close it down. Close your operating model down. Fire everyone. You know, there's people who are employed. It's a business. It's run as a business. So that's what they do. They say, we're this camp, you're that camp. Shut that camp down, and then maybe we'll look at you. Now that's not unity in a first past the post system, guys. It's not unity. The other point I'd like to make before moving on is that in a first past the post system, you obviously the idea is to go for gold, to go for glory, which is absolutely fine. Of course, we're going to stand as close to 650 candidates as we can. But what we must understand is that whilst the hysteria and the madness is the mindset of I must stop the uni party, Labour, Tory, bad, stop the uni party, you are taking your mindset away from the unholy alliance, which is mobilizing and will mobilize and continue to mobilize behind the Green Party. So your party with Zoltana and Corbyn, that was never really going anywhere. That never really happened. So it doesn't matter what they try to start next. They've got the Greens, the Islamists and the communists have got the Greens, and they will work through the Greens. They already have elected representatives in the House of Commons. We have Rupert. We have one sound MP, right? Arguably. But you've also got with the Greens, you've got a little team of them. And if you look at where they're polling amongst Gen Zs, it's not enough to say we have to stop the uni party and therefore Farage, which is obviously the predicate for Low, Habib, Advance, Restore, respectively. No, we absolutely must stop the unholy alliance. That's the communists and the Islamists from getting into power. So before moving on, please, all of you, go to the Greens website or Google what is the Greens policy with regards to immigration. You will see it is an open border policy. You'll wish you had the uni party back. If we split the vote, if you've got 3 or 4 groups that you can vote for at the general election, and there is splitting the vote is something that happens. Of course it does, because people don't put the vote into one thing, they spread it. And that's where opposition can... Now, of course, just to be absolutely clear, if you've got a centrist party, a right-wing party, and then something unthinkable, then these are different camps. They're different pools. It's absolutely fine. But if you've got 3 or 4 in the exact same space, that's hugely problematic. So unity absolutely must be what we strive for. Again, to stop the uni party, but eyes on the prize, patriots. We must block the unholy alliance. Please bookmark these words. I'm the only leader of the only party that places this kind of emphasis on the danger, clear and present, grim realities of the unholy alliance taking Westminster. That is game over for Britain. For those of you who know what's happened to Scotland in the last 15, 20 years, it will be the same here, potentially worse. Now, an announcement. Like me, you're all fasting and fading like flowers. It's going to be a tough one tonight, guys. So maybe shorter, slightly shorter. A few announcements, paying some homage there. Sunday, the 1st of March, 1 p.m. Southampton Patriots. These guys are phenomenal. They're absolutely fantastic. They absolutely will not be silenced. It's right there on the ad, guys. Screenshot that. Guildhall Square. That's Southampton Patriots on the 1st of March. On the Saturday, Sunday, the 1st of March, on the Saturday, we'll be in Hull. So I don't know whether I'm going to try and be there, but it's very difficult for me to be there on a Sunday, if I'm being completely honest with you. And also, I'll have just got a lot of comments from Scotland, but from the Scots. Listen, guys, this is no joke. Seriously, the Scottish people, you've got 50 immigration, tighter immigrations polling at 70% in Scotland, and Scottish independence is still polling at 50%. The SNP, Wales is done. Reform will do what they'll do, but Plaid Cymru, Plaid, it's done. It's that no one's touching it. Why would you, when you can go for Westminster? We've got one chance, maybe one last chance to save Britain. So in terms of Scotland, this is something, it breaks my heart. I'd love to be more involved in Scotland. I really would. Or do I need leaders in Scotland to come forward with our flagship policies of reinstating Christianity back into the heart of government? Because I can't stand everywhere, guys. So you got to remember that, guys. You got to join UKIP, become a member, progress through the ranks, put your name forward, become a candidate, progress through the ranks, win your seat, and join me. Join me. Why can't we have a leader in Scotland? Of course we can. So it breaks my heart. Maybe we'll do more in Scotland. Maybe, very potentially, actually. We've launched the UK 12 club, guys, this week. That is a limited number of spaces. That is an advert request for 12 people to join to help fund the leading campaign for mass deportation. Simple as that. So get networking, start making referrals to the party. The membership is growing, and to run campaigns for candidates, that costs money. Now, we're going to teach our candidates how to fundraise and how to win an election, but they're going to need support. They're going to need help. They're going to need us to be able to finance them. And you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of candidates. So for the math, if it takes, for those of you who are getting involved in politics and want to know more about how you're getting more involved in politics and how does it all work? If you're going to run a successful campaign, depending on how far you've got to travel, you're looking at obviously X number of months, years work. But before the general election, everyone gets to work, whether that's 2 years in advance, this right now, 3 years in advance. But let's just say the average to run a successful campaign is £10,000. So just bear with me on the math. For those of you that don't know this and you're looking to get more and more involved in politics, okay? So just times 650 by £10,000. So it's millions to front those individuals. That's what we want to do, right? We want to help you guys. We'll teach you how to fundraise, but we want to help you. But people have got to understand that running a business costs money. The membership money must go towards candidates. It's a very basic premise and a very basic business model that's hugely effective. Our operating costs are streamlined, but it costs what it costs to run a political party. Ask someone, how much does Labour cost to run a year? The Conservatives. Did you all know that the Conservatives roughly, last time I checked in, it's been over a year, but the Conservative Party, Patriots, do you know what they're funded to? It's the tune of 20 million a year. Do you know what some social media departments charge for certain political parties in Europe? Do you guys actually know what just the social media department charges? You're talking 200, 300,000 pounds a year just for the social media marketing. It takes an awful lot of money to run an organization. And that's why we've launched the UK 12. We are saying to people that can afford £1,000 a month, join up and back our operating model, because we're protecting the war chest and the money for the candidates. Now, I'll draw your attention at this stage to something that Reform does. For those of you that don't know, are you all aware that if you apply to become a candidate at Reform, I've not checked in on this, so I'm not going to quote it, but I've got some screenshots here. I've known about this for a while now, but you've got to pay an enormous amount of money you've got to buy your way into Reform. So when you stand as a parliamentary prospective candidate, PPC, you've got to put £500 down. If you don't get a certain number of votes, then you don't get your deposit back. Most people don't have £500 to lose, but you've got to pay, whether it's 150 or 250 quid when you become a candidate. The reform's making you pay for everything. So this is stuff that UKIPers, those supporting my vision and my team, you've got to know about all these things. UKIP is set, once you're a member, we'll give you everything else, but you've got to support us. That's where we get our candidate funding pool from. It's from the candidates. So when we launched this graphic, this advert, this new campaign, this new program early this week, the UK 12, those 12 people are going to be writing their names into the history books by saying we were the ones that supported to victory Christian nationalism, which I will remind you before we move on, everyone. As I always say, can anyone tell me where Christian nationalists have been in Britain? Can anyone tell me about a Christian nationalist party? Go back 100 years, go back to Churchill, go through the ranks, go through the decades. Tell me, there's never been an explicitly Christian nationalist party. It's never, ever happened before, guys. It's never happened before. This is it. And we've only got one shot left. So that membership link, become a member at UKIP, send that link far and wide and tell people about these initiatives. Because I'm telling you now, if anyone has a pop at us for trying to fundraise, these individuals, they're fundraising for themselves. Oh yeah. And their parties, they're bringing in millions potentially. None of it's necessary, by the way. We know exactly how to do it. We know what we know how much we need for our candidates in the build up to the general election and when, and we know how much we need for our operating costs. There's never been a model like this. I should know. I designed it. So get sharing, get commenting, get sharing that UKIP membership link, guys. Let's get that out there and start signing up to UKIP. Christian nationalism, taking our country back, whilst extending the hand to all those who are willing to listen. If people are willing to listen, if people don't care, there's no point. We're taking our country back. It's no problem. But if they do care, could be very, could be huge. Could be huge. And I'm working behind the scenes to make that happen, guys. This Saturday, next announcement, this Saturday, February 21st, stand with us, mustering from 12 p.m. outside the Fox and Goose pub in Ward End, Alum Rock, Birmingham. That's it. Be there. Saturday the 21st, 12 p.m, guys. That's it. Christian nationalists putting our faith first, following the dedication in the liturgical calendar, which this month, as we start Lent, is to the Holy Family. Jesus, our Blessed Mother Mary, and her spouse, most chaste Joseph. This is it, guys. Christians stood shoulder to shoulder in colonized Alum Rock as we openly profess our faith and decree and declare together with one voice that Britain is a Christian land and shall remain a Christian land. This is seismic. And for those that can't see it, it's absolutely no problem. It doesn't, if you can't see it by now, then don't worry about it. Stick to whatever you're doing. This is it, guys. Christians stood shoulder to shoulder. Now, the Birmingham Live outlet media guys, they've picked up on this. So look, fair play to the Birmingham Live article. I'll just bring up the headline there, and I will talk you through some of this stuff. Faith leaders. Is it going to come up? Faith leaders pledge to show best of community during UKIP Christian procession. UKIP is planning to hold a Christian rally in Alum Rock. I'm very, very glad to hear that the community leaders, community faith leaders, intend on putting on a good show for us, and rightly so as well. Why would you oppose our message of love, unity, and devotion to the one true faith? A Birmingham faith group vowed to show the best version of their diverse Birmingham community ahead of a march by the UK Independence Party. Good news. Good to hear. UKIP called on all Christians and supporters of the faith to meet at the Fox and Goose pub in Ward End at noon this Saturday, February 21st, for the procession. Details of the route have not been revealed yet, but the march was said to honor the Holy Family, Jesus, our Blessed Mother, and her partner, most spouse, her husband, most chaste, Joseph, according to a Facebook post. We know the route, guys. Don't worry about that. We've always got everything taken care of. The procession has led to fears. The group led by Nick Tenconi could lead to tensions and stoke divisions. It's interesting, isn't it? Why would you ever put that? Why would that ever be put up? So the meeting that happened, there was a UKIP member in the meeting, and the UKIP member has reached out to me and explained to me that apparently 90% of everyone in that room was okay with this. Good. Rightly so. We're not asking, we're taking, but good. Like, why? There shouldn't be any problem whatsoever. This is fantastic. A public meeting, this is the one, was held at St. John's House in Alum Rock on Sunday, February 15th, where members of the community Interfaith Alliance, I like it, said they would positively engage with anyone seeking to cause division. So what they're doing is, this is standard Islamic narrative, which is they're going to come, they're going to cause problems, we're going to take the moral high ground, and we're going to engage with them positively about how wonderful and this peaceful, wonderful utopia, this Islamic Caliphate conclave in Alum Rock, Birmingham is. It's interesting. No one asked for that comment. They just volunteered it. It's a Christian land. We'll march wherever we want, however we want, whenever we want, especially when it's a dedication to the Holy Family. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Again, everything else said in good faith. They're happy. Great. They should be happy. Stand Up to Racism said it would be holding a peaceful counter presence to show unity and reject racism at 11 a.m. at the same spot. The Alliance said, following UKIP's announcement of a right-wing Christian parade through Ward End on Saturday, February 21st from midday, an open public meeting was held for the community so they can be updated and raise concerns. They do sound quite pathetic, don't they? The diverse community heard the unifying message from the Christian and Muslim perspective on the shared love both religions have for Jesus. Thanks be to God. Sounds great. So, Saturday 21st, this Saturday, guys, everyone, bring everyone. We will peacefully have our devotional procession honoring the Holy Family at the start of Lent, sponsored by, facilitated by, hosted by your first ever Christian nationalist political party in the UK, whilst we are at work against forces of wickedness, darkness, and satanic evil. What's not to like, guys? Mic drop. It's done. Saturday 21st, this Saturday, outside the Fox and Goose pub in Alum Rock. End scene. There is a couple of headline screenshots that I wanted just to talk about with you all before we potentially move on to other things. This one really did catch my eye. This is so frustrating. Children caught with Telegraph article, children caught with knives are to be mentored right instead of being prosecuted. So on face value, for those of you that know, so our punishment system is broken, but it's broken all across the world, because what you'll do is you'll put people in jail, and the people in jail, the vast majority of them are repeat offenders. So we know the system is broken. This is a very old argument. The problem you've got is you've got to punish people. So this is where policy comes into it. We're very clear in the manifesto. The prison system in the United Kingdom, once you've got rid of the foreigners in our jails, mass deportations, and the Islamists are all gone, there's going to be a complete overhaul whereby everything's stripped back to the basics. You're given a Bible, you're given access to obviously you've got a church presence within the prison. That's very important, and access to a priest and all these things. And what these individuals there will be a program. It's not a religious education program, but it'll be said, right, no matter what you've done, some of you aren't getting out ever again. No matter what you've done, there's an opportunity now to reinvent yourself. I'm talking about all of your minor things through to your more serious things, but nobody got hurt necessarily. Could be fraud, tax evasion. There's another end, which is a very serious end. We're advocating for a referendum on the death penalty. So let's park that for a second. But in terms of our prison systems, what we need is, when you look at that article, you think, you know what? All the kids are carrying knives now because of county lines and issues and things like that. And we're just, as a society, we had that like trending period where kids were doing machete zombie knife fights. And it's just weird what's happened. It's weird. It's wrong. It's enabled by idiots like Sadiq Khan. it's enabled by soft touch Britain, lawlessness, tribal gang fighting, infighting, godlessness, fatherlessness, and grime music culture, which we all know attracts a certain type of individual from a certain type of background, and then they just go at it. So there's so many reasons why knife crime exists the way that it exists. Another reason why it exists is because we're desensitized to violence and we don't have guns. So America has a massive problem with guns. So it's very easy to understand why we have such a huge problem with knife crime. Now, this article, on the face of it, it's like, oh, okay, cool. So they're going to start to be mentored. Right. This is completely the wrong approach in every way, shape, or form. Because what you're doing, you're saying to these kids who are picking up knives for whatever reason, you're setting the tone which says, pick up the knife, maybe use it, maybe you don't. But the fact that you've got it, that's the next stage. If you never pick up the knife, no one can get stabbed. But the fact you've picked it up, you've not stabbed anyone, but you know what? We're going to mentor you through it. No, you've got to stop before then. Again, for all the reasons I've said, it's very, very complicated. But this is the sort of absolute nonsense that we're fighting against, which typically comes out of the uni parties' mouths. And let's face it, under the Greens, it would be even worse. Don't they want to start giving out heroin for free, for goodness sakes? So just to make you all aware, this is all covered in UKIP's manifesto and has been for over a year, or a year to the day. It's all there. It will be very simple. Once you're sent to prison, you'll be put to work. The work farms are coming back. Yeah, the mental asylums need to come back. Some people need that type of care. That needs to be a factor. That's linked into it in the manifesto with regards to prison reform. But it's not difficult to reform the prisons. You massive emphasis on Christianity, religious education, turning your life around and ending repeat offenders. Once you go to jail, you shouldn't be going back again. Now I know it happens, and there's no such thing as a setback, only a comeback, and that's fine. But we shouldn't be going to jail again and again and again. And the problems with repeat offenders. And again, you rip out the Islamist rot. They're mass deportations. They're all going home. Another reason to back UKIP, prison reform. So you might think, well, what's that got to do with a knife? An article about soft touch Britain on knife crime. It's got everything to do with it, actually, guys. Everything. And new political parties will laud themselves about their new policies. And you're just thinking, hang on a minute, there's this manifesto here, and who's been looking at that and stealing them? It's frustrating. UKIP, policies in place, missions in place. Everything's in place, guys. Got to get behind it. Next up, and we will not be spending long on this, but for every time I hear that the radical trans lobby, the radical trans debate, gender fluidity, puberty blockers, the debate, that thing is done, there's a new article which says children paid in NHS puberty blocker trial backed by Wes Streeting. More than 200, he's a Labour MP, more than 200 participants under 16 will be given vouchers for completing tests as part of experiment. Okay, so let's bring this up. So to be absolutely clear, obviously the whole point of why we do this, me, the team, etc., is to link all this back to UKIP policies and why you should be getting behind UKIP. It's really, really straightforward from our perspective. Ending woke, ending DIE, mass deportations, reinstating our faith back into the heart of government, but also declaring war on Marxism, guys. All of the radical gender stuff, all of it, it's all Marxist based. It's all the ideology of Marxism. It's all Marxist based. Here's a post from AF Post. More than 200 children, this pertains to the story, more than 200 children under 16, including participants with autism and learning difficulties, shock, will receive vouchers for participating in a highly fraught NHS puberty blocker trial commissioned by Health Secretary Wes Streeting. Health Secretary. The Pathways trial will test the effects of GnRH analogues on children to determine their effects on health, development, and well-being into adolescence and adulthood. Participants will receive £30 vouchers for each cognitive assessment they complete, adding up to a total of £500 in vouchers redeemable at. Not sure why it gets cut off at the bottom of my screen there. I've even enlarged it, and it's some nonsense about like where you can spend it. Oh, great, fast food places just shouldn't. Who's spending their money, their hard-earned money, in fast food places? I just the fatigue. Okay, cool. So policy, puberty blockers, trials. Who's sanctioning this? How's the health secretary all over this? Vouchers for kids. Whose mum and dad is sanctioning this? Why is this being taught in schools? Where's it come from? Get hold of the rot, rip it out. Marxist ideology. It's right. Let's move on. So I mentioned about prison reform a second ago. So under a UKIP government, anyone pushing radical gender theory or anyone pushing trans ideology or puberty blockers would criminalize it. You'd be breaking the law. So yeah, I'm not, again, not a judge or jury, but you'd be breaking the law. And then that links to the asylums as well. We need to reopen the asylums. What are these people doing? What are they doing in Britain? What are they doing in schools? What are they doing teaching kids? Why do they have access to kids? Again, all of this is covered off policy-wise, guys. So again, Marxism, rip out the rot. It's done. We want the communists gone. So many people in Britain don't understand. Mass deportations, new political parties, infighting, rage, and drama. You're not focused on the far left extremists, the Marxists, the long march through the institutions, the communists. They want to destroy Britain. And the only political party and the only leader going after the epicenter of the nucleus is myself and UKIP, because we've understood the mission. My response to Wes Streeting: the parents and Wes Streeting should be arrested and charged for child abuse. A UKIP government would ban puberty blockers and radical gender ideology from schools. Children should not be experimented on. It's so clear cut. It's so done and done. What we lack, patriots, on the right is power. That's it. What we lack, we don't lack the policies, we don't lack the manpower, we don't lack the funding, we don't lack the impetus, the support, the momentum. We don't lack it. We lack two things. One is God's grace, and two is power. I don't believe we're going to be granted power without God's grace. We turn back to the faith, we repent, we ask for God's grace. God grants us the grace, by definition, the strength, and we fight back and we eventually take power. That's the plan. That's the plan. So what else have we got here? We are going to wrap up once we're done with a few new segments. There are some new segments that I can always use, but it's frankly it's too depressing. You don't need to hear it, guys. It's not good for the mindset. We should use Lent also. Going back to the very start, we should use Lent as a reminder of what's important. So whilst you've got all the infighting and the nonsense going on the right, and the lack of unity is a better expression. So, perceived lack of unity. Some of us are doing everything within our power to unify, but we should remember, point being, we should remember what's important. We should remember what's important, guys, which is that the holiest season is upon us. So surely, if we're not going to get the country back without the grace of God, and everyone is in agreement that the powers of darkness and the forces of wickedness, and it's all satanic, people are saying in the comment section, it is. This is potentially the last shot for Britain, guys. We're going to need God on our side. Whether you're atheist, agnostic, practicing, we're going to need God on our side. We really are. We really are. Which kind of leaves us to round up, because I'm sure, as I said in the beginning, if you're like me right now, you are hungry, and it's time to break the fast, guys. So shorter tonight, but just a reminder from where we were at the start to talk about unity and tonight's main theme, which is that Britain can still be saved if we unite. Tell your brothers and sisters, evangelize and take this recording. In a first past the post system, you have to return a majority of candidates. Our system is first past the post. You have to return a majority of candidates if you want power. If you want power, that's a majority of candidates above every other party. There's always competition. It's never been unopposed. I don't think that's even ever happened. It would never happen. So you're never not opposed. You're always opposed. So you must return the vast majority of you must return the most amount of candidates. Now, in summer 2024, everyone said reform, 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 get behind reform, reform. And I said, no, because it's liberalism, it's centrism, it's secularism, and it's more of the same. I'm not doing it. We're providing patriots, voters, concerned citizens with a Christian nationalist space to take our country back, which has very clear water between us and reform, because reform and Nigel stand for your secular, liberalism, centrism. You all with me so far? Right. Then, again, I'm not going to do the whole Ben Habib invented the Great British Pack and Rupert did restore as a movement. It's always it's always a power move into politics. And I don't care, right? All's fair in love and war. So let's skip past that. That takes us then, patriots, whilst the reform, everyone fell out of love with reform. I say everyone, there's loads of people that are still reform and they think reform can actually they actually think reform could be better than what we've got now. So you're going to have to rationalize that one, guys, because if reform is better than what we've got now, then that's better than what we've got now. But then you've got the argument, well, we should all fight for what we actually want. Well, yeah, obviously, that's why I do what I do. But you've got to remember, when people say, and they'll say it all the time, that everyone's fallen out of love with reform, there's still hundreds of thousands of members funding that party to the tune of millions, which say, no, we actually are all still reform. Remember the online right and the noise that the noise I spoke about. This is noise. It's distracting you. There are realities. The reality is that reform still has the membership it has. It still has the GB News platform it's got. And the Greens are still polling where they are. So you've got all this noise, but noise isn't the same as reality. So in a first past the post system, if we are going to take our country back, we have to return a majority of candidates. Okay, there's a full stop there. So now we have, if you are not splitting votes if you have clear water between yourself and other ideologies. That's why in summer 24, I knew I was doing the right thing. Reform don't stand for what we stand for. We give the patriots a Christian nationalist, not just a right-wing, socially conservative mass deportations option, but a religious nationalist option as well. Then, point being, Habib makes his own party. Okay, fine. That's problematic because you're now taking from the ecosystem, right? You're taking from the vote system. But that's the first past the post system. Okay, no problem. So we've got a Reform Tory alliance, which is still massively financed and well backed. Now you've got a self-proclaimed centre-right option, and you all know that by now, right? Advance and Habib call themselves centre-right. I don't accept that term at all, but that's what they do. And then you've got a Christian nationalist right-wing, no nonsense. We're taking our country back and reinstating the one true faith. And now we've got, to conclude, patriots, restore. So you're arguably going to be having UKIP, you're going to have restore, and you're going to have advance trying to dominate over the right-wing space. So that's the layout. The Greens will carry on rising. They'll carry on polling. They're very well funded. They've got huge membership base. They are not to be underestimated. And Reform are going to go after the Greens. So if you're Nigel right now, you're thinking the Greens is the competition, Labour's out of it. And if you're Zach Polanski, you're thinking that Nigel is the one to beat, which leaves us, the family, us, that's you and I over here on the right. So all I can do is say to advance and restore, as I have done for clarity, and you all know where we're at on this because you've seen my statement, is, guys, I suggest that we unify. I suggest we do that. I suggest we pool our resources, pool our manpower, pool our talent, pool it all. Now, patriots, you're thinking that sounds great. Rupert is the one tonight, by the way, on Dan Wootton, has said, he's responded. Dan asked him straight. He's responded. He said, I think we all should just crack on for now. Rupert's words, not mine. I think we should all just crack on for now, and we'll worry about that at the general election. That's code for I'm not doing deals with anyone. So we'll see what happens there. My hand's extended to Rupert. My hand's extended to Ben Habib. That's a good place to be in, guys. The right should sleep well tonight. You've got three parties that are saying we all want the same thing. There's room there for negotiations. There's room there for talks. That's positive, not negative. But for those of you that has seen the Dan Wootton show earlier on, I've obviously extended the hand, and Rupert has said for now we should stay as we are. Okay, that's no problem at all. It's absolutely fine. He's also rejected Ben Habib's offer. That's why I said about the hysteria at the start of the show, guys, and the angry online right, the merger. It's just noise. It's noise from unprofessional people. It's noise from children. It's nonsense. Now, we need to focus on unity, not merger. We need to focus on unity, not acquisition. We need to focus on unity. So what does that unity look like, Patriots, in a first past the post system? Well, it looks like this. You pool resources, you pool talent. You don't stand against each other in certain seats when the dynamic exists whereby you've got a heavy green presence, very, very green, lots of membership, lots of leafleting for green. Tories is pretty much staying out of it, or maybe they don't. You look at all the dynamics there with regards to splitting the vote, the whole bit, the whole political landscape, and the three leaders, myself, Rupert and Ben, work together to ensure an alliance which makes, based on pooling talent, pooling finances, pooling resource, skill sets, manpower, even things like being together in photo opportunities. Three separate parties, three separate men, three different ideologies. You all know my ideology. It's conservatism. Ben Habib is centre right. So I can't speak for him, and I won't. I presume it's conservatism, but I don't know what centre right means. And we don't know with Rupert. That's fair, right? I don't know. It's all about ideology. It's all about ideology. So what if the three men, now this is the picture I want to paint for you, Patriots, because this is going to come up again and again and again, which is why my right of reply right now is so important. I've extended the hand and my message is unity. But both Ben and Rupert have said no, and they've said no to each other as well. Right. That's problematic. So what does unity look like in a first past the post system? It looks like this. The three leaders of the three parties agree that there's enough synergy. If the ideology is different, and if there's anything that doesn't work ideologically, this is game over, and it's winner takes all. It's fair. Like with Reform and Nigel, hence my position in summer 24 when everyone came after me. Why are you splitting the vote? Why are you carrying on with UKIP? Why not Reform? Because we're not the same ideologically. So it's fair. But the situation we're broaching soon is you got three men, three parties, three leaders, and they're all after the same thing. Very, very clear water between us, and we outshine the competition with regards to our faith is being put first. This is absolutely fundamental. But policy-wise, it's kind of the same. Our manifesto was out first, just saying. So that's what it looks like. The three men work together to have photos together, handshake together, stand together, and we agree for our campaigning teams and our head offices to work, and our parties to work together to fund, to support, to pool, to collaborate. A dealer's choice. There's all sorts of different words you can, but it is possible. But let me end on this note, Patriots, because I've made my point now. Hands extended. God bless Ben and God bless Rupert. Hands extended. The unity that I describe is the only unity available. So if that is shunned, there is no unity. Remember what I said. You've got to pool talent. You've got to put heads together. You've got to collaborate. You've got to pincer. You've got to outperform, outmaneuver the Greens, the Communists, the Islamists, and Reform. You've got to beat the Tories as well, and Labour. You've got to triangulate, collaborate. You've got to share. And you've got to stay close. And there can be no infighting whatsoever. Three men, three parties, three leaders. And if we come together, and my mathematics is correct, this could be what saves Britain, and it is absolutely seismic. Because what will happen if we don't go, and it is the only maths that exist. And Rupert's been asked by Dan earlier on. He didn't have an answer, not like this, which either means he hasn't thought of it or he doesn't want it. And I'm gonna enjoy speaking to both Rupert and Ben about this proposal. I'm gonna pursue it with vigor. But if I'm right, then this should block both the Uni Party and the Unholy Alliance, patriots. And the only mindset you need to go to bed with every night for the next 3.5 years is this: if the three men, if we can work together to block the Greens, to block the Unholy Alliance, to block Reform, we could have enough seats together that we form a majority. Does that make sense? And we block the rise of the Greens, we block Reform, we block the Tories, we win. We form a majority together by pooling, sharing, collaborating, campaigning, the whole, and we show to the Uni, we show to the Uni Party, and I'll close by saying this: we show to the Uni Party and we show to our enemies, and most importantly, we show to the nation that there's still hope, that friendship still exists, that alliances still exist, that the brotherhood in Christ still exists. Love thy neighbor. Wouldn't that be great? Are you merging? No. This is why I said what I said. Friday night, merger. Saturday, merger. Unprofessional, childish, merger. No. Nonsense. Noise. But, and again, waited till my usual spot on a Wednesday night to communicate with my audience. And obviously, I've made my statement yesterday, and I've been on with Dan earlier on. Hands extended to Rupert. Still remains extended to Rupert, and it's extended to Ben. The story that could be told is that the three men and the three parties united to stop the Uni Party, which Reform is to be considered part of, and to stop the Islamic Caliphate through the rise of the Greens. That's how the Islamists will do it. They'll never have their own party. They'll never get anywhere. They'll have a few independents. That's what they do. If you look at the map where it's colonized, that's what they do. That's how they get their independence in, but they'll never have power just like that. They'll rise through the Greens. This is how it happens. So we must block the Uni Party, and Reform is suspected as being part of that. We must block the Unholy Alliance. Together, unified, we are in with a genuine shot at doing that. But more than that, strategically, more than that, we, the three men, the three parties, would show to the nation that we're stood shoulder to shoulder. Not one leader, but three. Not one party, but three. And that might just be enough for us all to feel slightly safer, slightly more hopeful, and slightly more positive, because the infighting gets ended then. Demonstrably, the right has done the infighting for so very long, but we end that. Not movements, not groups, not think tanks, not lobby groups, not pressure groups. Three political parties came together to extend their hand to the nation and say, 1, 2, 3, we've got you. We've got you guys. We're going to work together. Because there is no merger. Nonsense. Habib knew that. We all knew that. Merger. I've spoken about unity. I've detailed it. I've outlined it. I stand by it. The hand is extended. I love you all. Next Wednesday we go again. As ever, I don't care whether it's 100 or 1,000. Thank you all so much for being with me tonight. If you are like me and you're very hungry, enjoy breaking your fast. For what we do during Lent is for the one true God, of the one true faith, of the one true religion. Thanks be to God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. God bless you all.